my name is Shawn. I am here to speak about Samson's Unit Men's Sober Living Home. And this is basically a video that's going to explain a lot about the home. Samson's unit began in June of 2011 on Sonoma Boulevard in the Sonoma, Indiana district. And what we would do is we would go out there and we would set up a table and we would order a bunch of Domino's pizzas, and we would feed a lot of crack cocaine addicts out there, a lot of Bloods, mafia members, a lot of pimps, a lot of prostitutes, a lot of homeless people in general, and we would feed people every Sunday at 3 o'clock. And from there, I started to meet a lot of people that were on the streets and speak to them and try to work out in their life, whatever problems they had, to help them out, basically to get off drugs and alcohol and some other issues that they may have been facing in their life. While I was out there, I came across Jose Perez, which is also known as Video. He's a resident on the streets of Vallejo for about 9 years now. He's been a crack cocaine addict. And I had met him, and then a couple weeks that went by, and he had been to jail, and he had just got out of jail, and I felt the Spirit of the Lord tell me to bring this guy to my house and allow him to live with me. And it was really crazy because, first of all, he's addicted to crack cocaine, and I didn't know where God was going with it, having a stranger addicted to such a harsh narcotic under my roof. And to add on to it, he's been in San Quentin more times than I got fingers. So just a little scary there, but I took the faith of God, and I said, Lord, I'm just going to trust in you. And I took this guy in, and he ended up staying here for a couple months at this men's home. And he was the first start, and that was in the summer of 2011. And, I learned that Jose Perez used to be a pastor in Oklahoma. He used to pastor his own church. And it was just amazing to find out that I had an ex-pastor under my roof that was struggling with crack cocaine. And very healthy man, very fit for his age in his 40s. And he just needed a little bit of love and a little bit of support to push him the right way. And we gave him that love, we gave him that support. He ended up taking off a couple months into it, and I see him around town. But most importantly, I planted the seed in him, that maybe he will stay off crack cocaine now. Maybe he knows that there's people out there that love him, that he can stay away from that if it's in his mind, if it's his mindset. So a little bit about me. I'm Shawn. I was on methamphetamine before. I was on crack cocaine before. I did heroin. I've had a lot of alcohol problems with law enforcement. Been on ecstasy. I've been on PCP before. I've been on a lot of different narcotics, a lot of different drugs in my life. And just to give people a brief history of me and why I believe I'm qualified to run a men's sober living home is this. I have 5 stepdads in my whole life that were addicted to methamphetamine and that were alcoholics. From the time that I was 5 years old, I had a stepdad in my life, and every one of them beat on me and my mother. And I remember a lot of them shooting up methamphetamine. I remember walking into a meth house when I was 12 years old and getting a pistol put to my temple and asked if I was a police officer, because I was looking for my mother that went into this meth house, and there were spoons and needles all over the floor. My mom used to allow meth cooks to come over, and she would trade sexual favors for methamphetamine. And this is what occurred my whole life. Time after time again, there was a new stepdad in my life that had the same problem as the one before, because that's what my mom went after. She went after people that were on methamphetamine to support her habit. And because of that, I had a lot of problems with my childhood, but most importantly, I learned about methamphetamine, how I could help people in the future that struggle with that disease. I was in a foster home 3 times in my life because of this, because of stepdads getting strung out on methamphetamine and beating on me my mother, it landed me in a foster home 3 times. Whenever I was 17 years old, my uncle introduced me to crack cocaine. And he said that, I'll never forget what he said. He said, "Shawn, I thought you were going to die because your face turned so purple." On my first hit of crack cocaine, I was 17 years old. And from that point, I started living in a crack house that the roommate next to me, it was a boarding house, and it had about 4 or 5 rooms in it. The guy next to me, his name was Preacher. He was a crack cocaine dealer. The guy next to him, his name was Pops. He was a crack cocaine dealer. The other room next to us were crack cocaine addicts. 2 people in my room were crack cocaine addicts, including myself. And I used to break into houses and steal TVs for crack cocaine. I used to work at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I used to trade KFC chicken to Preacher for crack cocaine. That's how much I was on the stuff. I was finding any kind of way that I could get another hit, that I could get another rock any night. And that led to me joining a gang, basically, in that area that patrolled the streets and sold crack cocaine, and I ended up in that lifestyle, basically, as a 17-year-old kid. Now, once I got out of that lifestyle, I moved to Bakersfield, California, where my stepdad introduced me to crystal methamphetamine. And I was doing crystal methamphetamine for months, and one day I had a miniature stroke. And my arm shriveled up. I started talking like I had Down syndrome, and I remember telling God that if He allowed me to live, that I would never do this again, and I would testify against it as long as I did live. And in that, I started smashing my mother's pipes. I started smashing my stepdad's pipes. I started taking everybody's methamphetamine and flushing it. And in return, my mother kicked me out, and she dropped me off at the Bakersfield Rescue Mission. And I remember walking in there in tears. And these brothers told me, "Do not fear, for you're in the Lord's house now." And shortly after that, I started going to college, and I got a Pell Grant. And in that, I got a couple $1,000, and I remember telling God, "How can I give this back to you?" And I called my pastor at the time, and we talked about bringing all the homeless people from the Bakersfield Rescue Mission to church. And I asked him, "Do you have a bus?" He said, "No." And I said, "Well, do you know anybody with a bus?" He said, "I don't." I called him on my first ever cell phone, and I was just really juiced. I wanted to get back to the Lord. And I went around, I got everybody to sign a sheet. About 100 people signed up. On the day of the barbecue, I went with the church the night before. We got a lot of meat, and we'd already brought it to the church. And I got 40 people to go with me to the city bus that day, and we went across town. And when we got off the bus, I was pushing a wheelchair in the front, and behind me was the sick and the afflicted, the wounded, the people that Christ calls us to serve, the people that Christ calls us to go after, the less fortunate, the poor. And there was about 40 people behind me that day. Some of them had blankets on, some of them crutches, some of them with broken arms, some of them in wheelchairs. A lot of people that were just sick and afflicted. And they followed me to church that day. And I sat out front with one other homeless guy, and we cooked food. And one of my uncles was inside church that day, and he basically told me a little rough draft of what the preacher had said. And he said, "All of you that have been coming here for years, all of you that have just started coming," he said, "none of you shows greater faith as the young man outside. 19 and homeless, he lives in the Bakersfield Rescue Mission. And he has brought over 40 people here today to serve the Lord." All these people there that have been coming for years may not even brought a soul, may not have brought anything, anybody to the ministry of God. And here's a young, zealous soldier for the Lord out there doing miraculous wonders in the name of Jesus Christ. And he's homeless. And that's a lot about my heart. That's why for years I was homeless, and I kept this homelessness just going on in my life, like time after time again. And I've been through a lot of rescue missions. I've been to a lot of churches and slept. I've slept in tents, vans, porta potties, all kinds of situations, tree stumps, you name it, I've slept there. And I'm very qualified to run a men's sober living home that has previous homeless people, and etc. my notes here. Now, because of me going to the church and bringing those 40 people, a day soon after that, I woke up and I was studying the Bible, and I had read Job 1 and 2, and I felt some kind of spirit that just come upon me, and it spoke to me and it said, "You're going to read Job 1 and 2 at your church today, at Country Bible in Bakersfield." This was the same church I had brought these 40 homeless people to. Now, I had been attending the teen ministry so I could encourage youngsters to serve the Lord. Now, in that, I had planned on wanting to read Job 1 and 2 that day, and this great need to read it came upon me. Now, whenever I went there, the teen minister said that her grandmother or mother had died recently, and she didn't know what she was going to speak about at the service. And I said, the Lord has spoken to me, and He wants me to read Job 1 and 2. And that morning I read that, and a teenager got saved. And that was a glorious thing that happened. After this homeless event, I became the teen minister at Country Bible Church. And then right across the street, I became a teen minister at the Korean Baptist Church. And in that, I became basically a pastor for the youth. And it gave me a lot of training for about a year. I was a pastor for the youth. And it was a blessed ministry. Now, in that, I just want to kind of end it there with my past and my history and qualifications and whatnot. That's just a brief amount of information of things I went through and why I believe I'm qualified to do something like this. Now, what my goals are for this situation is basically a rough draft of this. It is my goal to create a chain of men's sober living homes starting here. I don't want this to end. I want there to be 12 guys in this home, 4 guys to each room, 2 bunk beds, and I want it to continue on from there. In that, I believe I can dramatically lower the homeless rate in Vallejo, California. I believe that each house we can house 12 guys. All it's going to take is about 4 or 5 houses to get all the men off the streets here in Vallejo that actually want to get off the streets, and that want to work, that want to change, that don't want to live the lifestyle of drugs and alcohol, that don't want to live a lifestyle of laziness. And that's one of my goals, is to continue to do chains of men's homes here in Vallejo. And so far we have taken 3 men from the Vallejo homeless shelter and put them in here. And 2 of those men were Marines. They're still Marines. They served our country. They're United States Marines even to this day. And they're in a homeless shelter, or they were, and we brought them here to Samsons unit. Now, another guy that was there, his name's Mr. Yancey. He's in his 50s. He's a little older, and he has a job out at Blue Homes here at Mare Island in Vallejo, and he just needed a little place to save up some money to get his own place. Now, Mr. Yancey, he lost his home in a fire about a year ago. He lost his wife, and he started struggling with methamphetamine. And that's part of his struggle with his walk with God. Because of that, he landed at the homeless shelter here in town for some reason. I do not know, but I ran into him. We got him in here now, and he's been a blessing ever since. He's been such a great blessing for this household. When you step out of the realm of fear, and you do not fear like the Lord says, do not fear, and you go into the unexpected, and you travel that path that's unknown, and you just got that faith that God's going to take care of you, miraculous things happen. You know, any one of these people I've taken in so far could have been a murderer, could have been a killer, could have been a thief, could have been aggressive, could have did anything to me. And they have not did anything but help me out. They're doing nothing but praising the Lord so far. I've seen a lot of praise to God. And it's been miraculous. It's been nothing but blessings so far. And there's potential for 12 guys to be here eventually. It's just a matter of getting the funds for everything. It's a matter of getting the lumber to build the bunk beds, getting the mattresses, getting a brand new computer that we can put in the corner so people can take classes online, so they can get college certificates, you know, a guard card so they can be a security guard. For example, it takes a couple weeks to do that. It's just a matter of having the equipment to do such things, for example. Okay, let's see here. In the future, I would like to have more than just men's homes. Down at the homeless shelter, there's a guy that has a bag attached to him that is for his feces. And in that, I can't have him here because of medical reasons. I don't have a facility to help somebody like that. There's a lot of people down there with medical issues that I can't have here because it's a sanitary issue for the people here that are healthy. Now, I need a home for people like that. There's women down there that need a home too. There's women and children that are together that need homes down there. There's the mentally ill is a really big thing that people really don't think about. These people that have schizophrenia are running around Vallejo streets. These people that have schizophrenia are out there talking to themselves. Sometimes they may wield a knife at somebody, just kind of flipping out and stuff. These people are on the streets because the Christian Help Center cannot house them. Because there's a lot of homeless people there and they can't have this guy talking to himself off in the corner distracting people that are trying to sleep and wake up and go to work. It's a part of their rules and regulations there. They can't allow people like that. So in that, I need a home for the mentally ill that can have a 24-hour on-site nurse, that volunteers their time to come out, or every 8 hours we got a pastor there. We got a couple of pastors there that are volunteering their time that can help out with those people. I'm already living here at Samsons unit. I have been, and I'm going to continue to live here until we get 8 guys in here and I get another house that I can start another men's home. Then I'm going to move out. I'm going to open up my room for 2 bunk beds, and we're going to have 12 guys here, and we're going to have another men's home started that we could have anywhere from 4 to 8 more guys. And then it's going to go on and on and on. God willing, Samson's unit will be a multiple chain, some type of Salvation Army, for example, some type of Samaritan's Purse, for example. Maybe it could be worldwide someday. Maybe it could be nationwide. Maybe it will only be a Vallejo thing. I don't know where God's going to take it, but I know just starting, the way that it's already gone, it's nothing but blessings. We've already got some miraculous guys in here that are about changing their minds whenever it comes to drugs and alcohol. We got some miraculous people in here so far, and I encourage people to continue to look at Samson's Unit on Facebook and continue to look at Freedom Edibles on YouTube for updates on videos of Samson's Unit, Men's Sober Living Home. And every time we do a new bunk bed or any kind of feature here, anytime somebody gives us a donation and we record that, basically our work of whatever money they gave us, we record it on video and post it. We keep the receipts. That way people know that we are actually doing what we say we are doing, and we got thorough documentation of all that. So please come out and check out the place. If you got time, come out and see for your own eyes what's going on here. Call me, talk to me, email me, medadles777@yahoo.com. Give me a phone call, 707-655-0313. That's also a 24-hour prayer line for anybody who ever needs some prayer, that just needs somebody to talk to. 24 hours a day, give me a call. I'll pray for you. I'll talk to you. I'll help you out if I can. We're only human, and we need to help out each other in this world. God bless you, whoever you are. I love your soul. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this, and peace be with you.